Hey guys, I wanted to send you guys a video just as some encouragement with this extra time that we've been given. The staff team and I met today, and one of the things that we wanted to do is just send you guys a video to encourage you to make the most of this time that you've been given at home. So I know that, especially coming off the heels of spring break, we talked a lot there about this idea of you all making the most of your time, that each day is a gift from God and it's a priority for progress, that we have a real enemy who wants to see us waste our time and really wants to get us off track from becoming the men and women that God has called us to. We talked about how Christ purchased us, He redeemed us, He bought us for His own, and we are no longer our own, but we are His. And a verse I wanted to share with you guys is Ephesians 5:15 through 17. And Paul writes this. He says, "Look carefully then how you are to walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time, because the days are evil. Therefore do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is." And I think those verses obviously can have many implications about this break that we've been given. And so we want to encourage you. I want to encourage you guys that verse would be true of you, that you guys would think about, what is the will of the Lord for me? How can I best use this time that God has given me as a gift back home, away from school and our normal routine? And so what I'm going to give you guys is just, again, my suggestions about what I would do if I were you at home. Actually, the things that I am trying to do here, but I wanted to try to apply them to you guys at home. So the very first thing that I would do is I would try to make a list of some goals. Just what are some goals that you guys would have? What would wild success look like for you all at home, that when you show up potentially in a month or when summer break hits, that you would be able to look back and say, man, this happened, and I'm really glad that if nothing else happened, at least these things I was able to accomplish. And so what I would do with those goals is I would make them and I would share them with somebody who is close to you, somebody, maybe a staff member or people in your Bible study or discipleship group. Share them with them as just means of accountability to let people know, man, hey, can you hold me to these things? And in light of that, I would make sure that I did these things each day before I relaxed, before I watched movies and played video games. I would just make sure that at the very least I did these things. The second thing that I would do is I would find a quiet place, maybe in your house or wherever. I'd find a quiet place and I would meet with Jesus each day. I would study His Word and take advantage of this time to really know God better and to try to become more like Him. One of the things that I would suggest is, if you guys don't already have a reading plan or a book of the Bible that you're studying through, I would maybe find a gospel and I would just read through it. And I would use what's called the Swedish method. And so as you're reading, you just write a question mark next to something that you have a question about. And I would take that question and the verse reference and I would write it down, my question. And I would try to find answers to it eventually throughout the day. I would call people and ask them about it. I would try to write a light bulb next to what I think the main point of this passage is. What's the author trying to communicate to me about Christ or about how I should live in light of who Christ is? And the last thing I would do is I would underline with an arrow things that I want to apply to my life, and I'd pray about them. So that's the second thing that I would do each day, is I would find a quiet place without my phone or my computer, and I would meet with Jesus. The third thing that I would do is I would try to make sure that my schoolwork and homework is done early on in the day each day. That way it's not looming over my head and I'm not getting behind. The tendency with online classes is to assume you could do them whenever, which is kind of true, but those things add up really quickly. So I try to do them early on in each day. The third thing, and I think this is really important, is I would try to spend quality time with my family. God has given us this time, and I think one of the really things that I'm really excited for you all about is the idea that you can spend some quality time with your family while you're at home. What a great opportunity for them to see how God is changing your life, how He's maturing you and making you look more like Jesus. And so this could look like things like doing the dishes after each meal, doing your own laundry or cleaning your room. It could asking your parents if they need help with anything around the house, and just spending quality time with them, hanging out. I think that's the third thing that I would really try to prioritize. And the last and final thing is I would try to pick a consistent bedtime. That I'm going to be in bed. Excuse me. I'm going to be in bed each night at the same time. This is only going to help you have more energy, but also, yeah, for me, the tendency is just to want to sleep in a ton, and it really prolongs my day and minimizes the time that I have. So I'd make sure I go to bed at the same time each night so I can wake up and do it all over again. And so we really want you all to make the most use of this time, that you would see it as a gift from the Lord, and that you would use it to follow Jesus and become more like Him and be an example to your family. So look forward to seeing you guys. I hope we come back really soon. See ya.